Hello, this is TechMan88, and I have here a new jungle tree farm that I just developed. It's similar to one that I just released, where I'm using pistons to instantly chop down the tree basically when it grows. I had to rearrange a little bit of it back here so it can handle the 12 high trees, because I wanted to get the full amount of logs out of it. And also I developed this leaf crushing system, and it's 1.15 of course, using the honey blocks and slime. And I did it kind of like this. I think it turned out pretty well. By the way, you don't need to use beacons, you can use hoppers instead for that. Then another part I did over here is a TNT blast chamber for 12 high trees. And I used water streams because I think they're more robust like this. And it actually positions the TNT just about perfectly. And I think you get about 100% drop rate. Much better than you would do trying to drop TNT at multiple levels. Another thing I added is a bone meal dispenser to give to the player so the player can help out this dispenser that's working over here. And that's just going to improve rates quite a bit actually. Like without that, it gets about 24,000 logs per hour, but with the player just holding down right click, you get up to about 32,000 logs per hour. And if you use a clicking script, you can get up to about 37,000 logs per hour, which is pretty fast, I would say. Overkill, definitely. So this here is the basic mechanism that might help to see how all the different parts work together without all of the hoppers and stuff and extra stuff just to collect the saplings. So yeah, it works on the same principle where when this redstone block gets pulled down, it instantly retracts this piston here, and that's going to uncut this signal and eventually power this signal over here. So it works exactly the same. It's just necessary to do it with redstone dust because this is 12 high and not 8 high. And then over on the back side, this again is that the leaf crusher, where yeah, the piston kind of like this one gets retracted, then this one gets extended. And again, I used pistons to time this. This is why this looks kind of funky. So yeah, when this redstone block gets pulled down, instantly it's going to be then powered by this comparator, which is signal strength 14. And that causes an update on both of the pistons and also turns this into a redstone dot. So it looks kind of funny, but really it's pretty simple. And yeah, over here, I had to use these beacons. There's very few blocks in the game, which they won't cut a redstone signal, and they're also not movable. So I couldn't use glass here. That would get stuck to the honey and slime. So you don't have to use beacons here. There's one other option I know of that has the properties of beacons in redstone, is hoppers. So yeah, this right here is still going to work. And yeah, the hoppers aren't going to be pulled. Just make sure you don't use glass, because that'll be kind of a pain to fix. So you really do have the option, if you want to design all the sapling collection yourself, this might be a good design to start with and figure the rest out yourself. But be warned, it's kind of difficult to do all the sapling collection and take care of all the issues with that. So the sapling collection is pretty simple. On this side, I used hoppers just all like chained towards this side, and they go into a dropper behind here. And yeah, on this side, I just use a water stream because that was a bit simpler. Yeah, so the dropper just shoots the saplings and whatever, the sticks as well in at the same time. They're falling down here. And there's a bunch of details here, like this trapdoor here. That's so if the saplings drop in this column, this solid block will get pushed in there, and they should usually pop out near the player. And down here, the saplings just flow under here. You might have also noticed the bone meal coming in here. I did something that I haven't seen on any other tree farm, I don't think, is that I have the player actually bone mealing at the same time the dispenser is working on the tree. And there's also an option to use a clicker script for that and have very fast output. Let me turn that on. So this is with a clicking script operating at 150 millisecond delay between clicks. And so it's almost as fast as like having multiple dispensers. In fact, I would say it is fast. So that has some issues with it, is that it's really easy to run out of bone meal, and it's actually super wasteful. I actually needed 2 dispensers to keep up with this clicking script. If you just hold down right click, you should only need one dropper. And another issue I had, which might be difficult to explain, is that sometimes the trees would actually grow too fast. They would grow before these double piston extenders were pulled back. And epilepsy warning, by the way. So that's what this piston is here for. This piston, while it's extended, will block the tree from growing. So this just means that you'll get enough saplings back. That was my main concern. And this is just operated off the same clock. I did a bit more research on how this piston mechanic interacts with tree growth. So I have a setup here that's going to be retracting the piston exactly when the dispensers get triggered. So I can test if a tree grows exactly then. And yeah, usually I'm in the main farm, I'm using this to block growth. But these are just to figure out if the leaf crushers will be stopping the leaf growth. And yeah, there we go, it grew. And so these were being retracted exactly when the tree grew. So that makes sense, according to the piston mechanics I know, is that the block is basically moved over instantly. Like instantly, it disappears from here, and that's why the leaves can form, both on when you're retracting a piston head and also when you're retracting a block like that. Try it a couple more times. Yeah, there we go. So I adjusted this tree growth preventer here just a little bit. I simplified it some. You might be able to get away with just having redstone here, and it'll be like a little bit faster. But it is, I think, coming into some redstone update order stuff. And it might depend on the position of your map. So you can try it with or without that. But you should only need 1 tick, 1 repeater worth of delay. So I waited until now to cover the rates of the farm just because there's so much variation whether the player is bone mealing at the same time. So the rates, no player bone meal, just the dispenser, 24,000 logs per hour. Holding right mouse button, that's 31.5 thousand. And then with the clicking script, at least what I tried, I get at about 37.5 thousand logs per hour. So to actually operate this farm, the first thing you would do is turn on the TNT dispensers. Those are going. Then you have bone meal in your main hand and a sapling in your offhand. And you get in here and you press against right here, like right in the center. That'll allow you to pick up items that fall around here and get the amount of bone meal that you need. And obviously you need to flip the switch to turn it on. So there we go. You don't need to use bone meal, obviously, but I recommend it. Then when you're done, just turn that off, come out. Then you want to make sure you turn off the TNT dispenser when you're done. You don't want to leave these chunks or quit the game while these are running because there's problems with that. If you made the mistake of forgetting to turn on the TNT dispensers, it's like my other farm. Basically, you turn them on, you're in a situation like this where you can't push anything. Then what you do is you destroy any blocks there, and if there's a block here, you destroy that as well. Then you come over here, and you just hit this button. That's just going to run through the piston sequence and get things going again. So now the farm should just work. So the TNT system is up here. I did something a little bit different than like I see usually on Omega's farms. I use this water stream actually to give the TNT just a little bit of velocity so that it blows up right in this exact area. And that just means that it doesn't blow up any blocks behind here. which means that it always has a straight shot down. The primary loss on these blast chambers is just an item landing on another block and then getting blown up by the next CNT. But I very, very rarely see that happening. And yeah, it's split up into two sides just so that they can be handled independently instead of trying to handle this 12 high stream of logs with not much area at all because of this stuff here. Yeah, it just splits it up. So anyway, that's going to do it for this video. I think 1.15 has some pretty good things with the honey blocks and slime block alternating to do these leaf crushers, which are the hardest part of doing a jungle tree farm. And I think probably where people get the most frustrated because it takes a long time to actually test that. And I think it's a pretty simple design. You can also watch my last video where I covered basically how these timings all work. And this is really just a pretty simple addition using the same concept, but just with the leaf crushers on this kind of funky double piston extender. There's other changes in the game which I think makes this more viable, where the player is using bone meal as well, and just more wasteful in terms of bone meal farms. Is that in 1.13 you can do the cactus farms, the zero-tick cactus farms, and then 1.14 they added the composter. So you can easily get your bone meal completely automatically. No crafting from bones, none of that sort of stuff. I would just have like a big cache of bone meal around here. So anyway, thank you for watching and goodbye.